Hello and welcome to the Edition of Ringside Digest. I'm your host Kirk Day, along with my co-host Nick Miller. And in this video, we're going to go over the games that happened yesterday, April 28th of the NHL playoffs. We got a few teams that have been eliminated. Unfortunately, one of them are my favorite team, the Minnesota Wild. We also got some heavy Game 7s coming, which are probably unexpected to a lot of people coming into the playoffs. So we're going to go over all of that in this video. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more stuff from us, because like I said, in every previous video pretty much, the playoffs are well underway, and there's some very exciting, unexpected stuff that's happening, and I think that a lot of people want to know about it, and we'll be on it all, so if you want to see it, make sure to subscribe, because we're going through all of it throughout the rest of the playoffs. So, without any further ado, we're going to get to our first game of the night, which was the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. And in this one, the Hurricanes win it 2-1 in overtime. They win the series in 6 games, 4-2. This game was a pretty goalie-heavy game. I mean, Freddie Anderson had 33 saves on 34 shots. Ilya Sorokin had 39 saves on 41 shots. But still, not a very high-scoring game. They pretty much kept him in it the whole time. But the main thing about this win for the Hurricanes is they dominated the third period. They tied it midway through the third on a goal by Sebastian Aho. And Paul Stastny wins it in a pretty weird overtime goal, like pretty much on the goal line, and go through Ilya Sorokin. Not his fault at all. It's just one of those weird goals, but it was just in such a horrible time to make him lose the series in overtime. But now that the Hurricanes have moved on to the second round, they will play the winner of the Rangers and Devils, which I think will be a very, very interesting series because, the Hurricanes, they had to kind of change their play style going in to play the Islanders because, the Islanders are a very defense-heavy team, so they couldn't really afford to make any mistakes. But the Rangers and the Rangers and Devils don't play that style of hockey. So I think they can go back to their normal game, what they've been playing all year, so it'll be more of a high-paced, high-scoring series, I would say, for whoever they play, between the Devils or the Rangers. But, yeah, the Hurricanes win. I think that was pretty expected for a lot of people. The Islanders did put up a good fight in the games they played. They played their style of hockey, which did work for them. It may not be the most entertaining for people, but it worked. They got 2 games out of it. They didn't get the series, but they didn't play bad, I wouldn't say. So, what do you think about this one, Nick?
Well, personally, I had Canes in 5, so I was off by 1 game, but my God, thank God we don't have to watch the Islanders anymore. Like, no hate to the Islanders fans, but, like, my God, that's some boring hockey to watch. Like, the 1-3-1 style does not win unless you have Martin Brodeur in net. And Ilya Sorokin's good, but he's not Martin Brodeur. And, I mean, they also had Scott Niedermayer and Scott Stevens when they were doing that back in the day. So, I mean, that probably worked for them. But, I mean, it doesn't work in today's NHL. You can get – I mean, Montreal did it on their way to the finals. But, I mean, Tampa Bay was just – you saw what happened there. But, anyway, the Islanders, they clearly just got the lead early and tried to sit on it. Like, until the end of the game. And I mean, like, all you need is one lucky bounce, you're back in the game, and then Carolina took over in the last 10 minutes of the hockey game anyway. Like, they poured it on. Like, as soon as the Islanders couldn't play their trap anymore, it was on for Carolina for till the end of the game. And I mean, if you look at the OT goal, it was really weird. Paul Stastny and Derek Stepan getting points on that goal. My God, straight out of 2015. It was the old guys are getting in on that one, but yeah, we'll be excited. Well, I'll be excited to see what Carolina does in the next round now with all their injuries against Devils team that looks very dangerous, or the Rangers if they can wake up.
Yeah, and see what happens with their goalies too. Antti Raanta, Freddie Anderson. We'll see who plays in that. Freddie Anderson played pretty good last night. Not much he could have done in that Clutterbuck goal either. That was just an absolutely insane goal. Speaking of the old guys,
it was a rip.
Yeah, it was a very nice goal right over the shoulder. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next series between either the Rangers or the Devils and the Hurricanes. So we're going to go on to our second game of the night here, which was the Panthers versus the Bruins. And this one, kind of a crazy game. The Panthers take this one 7-5 to send it to a Game 7, which I don't think a lot of people would have expected. Like I said, they shocked them, pretty much. I don't think any Boston fans, anybody, I wouldn't even say just Boston fans, I think anybody at all didn't think this would go to a Game 7. But in the question mark in this game was pretty much, Allmark just played really bad. And, he didn't let in 6 goals at all in the regular season, more than 6. And, the last one was an empty net goal. But if he didn't let in 6 all regular season, doesn't the playoffs, I mean, he has played every game in this series, I believe. So, I don't think he's done that either, played 6 in a row. So, we'll see. They didn't comment, Jim Montgomery didn't comment on if Swayman would start next game, or if it would be Allmark again. I'm kind of intrigued to see what that would be either, because I think Swayman has proved himself. He's a good goalie. He's proved himself with Allmark when they've pretty much gone few games each all season. But one thing is, games should be won if you score 5 goals. If you score, you have to win. That's not on your offense. Your offense is doing all they can. They score 5 goals. You let in 7. You're supposed to win this game. I mean, That's just how it is. I think it's any game, not just the Bruins. Don't matter who it is. It could be the Columbus Blue Jackets. It could be the Boston Bruins. Either way, if you score 5 goals, you should win. That's pretty much what I gotta say about that one. But Game 7's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around wanting to start Jeremy Swayman right now. Like, he's cold. The guy hasn't played in Jesus, probably like 3 weeks. Like I don't really see the logic behind that. This guy's gonna be the Vezina Trophy winner. If he can't figure it out in that game, there's something wrong. Game 7, Boston should be ready to go. Like, this would be the most embarrassing thing to happen since Tampa Bay got swept by the Blue Jackets back in 2019. This is ridiculous. Like, that Boston's gone this long with this Florida team. Florida scraped into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Like, I mean, it's not something that, like, oh yeah, this team is really good. They just had injuries during the regular season or whatever. They're right now they're a beat up team. They're down to their last. They were down to their last breath in Game 5 and Game 6. They were down, like, you know what I mean? Like, this team should not be still in this. Boston is letting them back in. Boston scored 3 power play goals in that game, and Florida scored 2. So that's 5 goals that came on the power play for both of these teams. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's fully on the goalies in this game. Then again, you do have to make some saves. Like, that Pastrnak goal was like a crazy goal. That was a phenomenal goal. But and at the same time, yes, you do need to make some saves, and I'm looking to the goalies to see what happens here in Game 7.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the telltale of what happens, because Bobrovsky's played good. Allmark hasn't been Linus Allmark, so we'll see what happens. And with our third game of the night here, we had the Stars versus the Wild. Now, this was a very unfortunate game for me, I would say. Stars take this one 4-1. They win the series in 6 games. This wasn't the tale of the Stars' power play this game. The Wild just played horrible. They didn't want it. They had no fight. And one main factor as well, if you can't hit the net, you won't score. That's, like, so many times last night, they missed the net, come down, especially that goal to end the second period. Zuccarello missed the net, wrapped right around, they come down on a breakaway and score with .3 seconds left. That one was just, that was a killer there. I think that point, that was the game. That was the game. It was over at that point. There was no hope in coming back after that. As well as that, the whole series, there was just too many turnovers. Those turnovers led to Dallas having any chance they wanted. They could do anything with it, and they probably would have scored. Gustafsson, he played good. Didn't play like he did in the regular season, but, I mean, that's all he can do. Fleury comes in the end of the third, looked pretty good, but that's how the tale is. The Stars looked very, very good, I will say that. They, regardless of power play or not, penalty kill or not, they looked absolutely insane. They're a playoff-made team. They're ready for the playoffs. It's no trouble to tell that by just watching the games at all.
Yeah, Jake Ottinger again just shut the door when he had to. But Minnesota could not get a shot through the net, like, to save their life. Like, they couldn't get the shots on goal. They had 24 in the game, but at the same time, like, they didn't look like they wanted it. Like, there was no player on this team giving 100% effort. Like, Freddie Gaudreau maybe gave 100% effort. That was probably about it. But everyone else on this team, Dumba looked like it was his last game in Minnesota. John Klingberg looked like it was his last game in Minnesota. Marc-Andre Fleury might be done. You never know what could happen with Fleury. He might be done. So you might have to rely on Gustafsson, and maybe Jesper Wallstedt comes up next season or something. But this Dallas team looks pretty crazy. Like, I mean, I was just baffled by, like, it's just crickets when you think about what happened in Minnesota here. Like, you don't know what happened. Like, they just looked like they stopped playing hockey after game 3. Like, they just didn't have it anymore. And it was like, it was just like a snap. Just like that, Minnesota just stopped playing hockey.
Yep.
And the Dallas just smothered them. Like, Tyler Seguin played great. Like, credit to Dallas, they all played great, but for Minnesota, that's really disappointing.
Yeah, and people are saying that, oh, will Dean Evison come back? Dean Evison should be fired, and I think no chance, 0 chance. We have $14 million in dead cap, and he got us, like, pretty close at the top of the Central for the entire season, and getting us into playoffs, like, with conviction, and playing insane with Kirill Kaprizov. There's not much you can do when you're coming up against teams in the playoffs that have full cap. They can do what they want. Like, $14 million, you can get anybody in the league for $14 million. You can get any superstars, or you can compile a bunch of, like, top 6 players. So that's a major miss for $14 million.
You guys would have still had Kevin Fiala, I think, if you didn't have that dead cap situation, and maybe sign another free agent that was like a small piece or whatever. Kevin Fiala is a huge piece. Like, that is a huge piece to lose. You see what he's doing for LA right now. He's playing well. I mean, like he was a big part of their offense. Like that's a big weapon to add into your top six, right? Like probably just the top line anyway, but into your top six, that's a huge weapon, and the dead cap is really hurting Minnesota here.
Yeah. It's all you can do. We'll be going over the eliminated teams, what will change, what they need to change, what has to change in different videos. We'll be doing individual ones for each team, so we're not going to go over too much of that in this video, and we'll just wait for their respective videos. So we're just going to go into our final game of the night here, which was the Avalanche versus the Kraken. In this game, the Avalanche win it 4-1. They tie the series 3-3 to send it to a Game 7. The Avalanche were just a much better team in this game. They outshot the Kraken 39-23. But I gotta say, Seattle got lucky by not allowing any of the power play goals on any of their 5 penalties. Like, it wouldn't have really mattered. Avalanche would have been, they were up 4-1 anyways. So those power play goals would just made the score higher. But if they want to win Game 7, they can't be taking 5 penalties, because we know the Avalanche are an absolute powerhouse, and they're very, very good on the power play. You know, even strength, penalty kill. They're a very high scoring team. So any opportunity you can give them a man advantage, it's not a good time for whoever. Yeah, you can't do it. You just can't do it.
Yeah. Shout out to Arturi Lehkonen with 2 goals in that game. Former Montreal Canadian, love him. But that Colorado team showed that game why they are where they are, and why they are who they are. They got Makar back. Like, I didn't cut them enough slack for that game. Maybe losing their top defenseman, who's also like a fourth forward on the ice at all times anyway. So, I mean, I maybe didn't cut him enough slack for that. Seattle left a lot to be desired in that game, I felt. They got the lead, but right after Colorado came back, it's kind of like what Tampa did to Toronto. Right after they scored, like, there was a goal right after that, like, silenced the crowd a little bit. Seattle has yet to have a game in the series where they win more faceoffs than the Avalanche. That's an issue, right?
Yep.
Like, I know the Avalanche will probably have players that are better at it than Seattle, but you got to find a way to win defensive zone faceoffs. That's going to be a killer for you, especially in a Game 7 where if something, and we know how crazy Game 7s can get. Something's going to get flicked on the net. It's going to be a bad goal, take you right out of the game real early.
Yep, that's pretty much what it is. It's going to be an interesting Game 7 because the Krakens look good this series, so have the Avalanche. So it's pretty back and forth. But before we end this video off, I'll just go over tonight's games. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm very excited for that one. The Devils versus the Rangers. Also very excited for this one. The Devils can take it. Rangers on the brink of elimination. And the Oilers versus the Kings is the final one with the opportunity for the Oilers to move on to the next round. So we'll be going over all of those in tomorrow's video. But if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. And thank you for watching. And make sure to subscribe as well, because we're going to be, like I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to be going throughout all the playoffs. It's going to be very exciting. It's very fun. So like I said, make sure to like the video, and thank you for watching.